Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. YouTube channel. My name is Grace. This is the Muslims Forum. Thank you for clicking on this video. Thank you for joining me. If you have not subscribed, I would love for you to subscribe. But if you're new, I would actually advocate that you go watch a few videos. If you feel like you like the vibe, then you can subscribe with some knowledge. But for this video, you can kindly give it a thumbs up. And let's just get right into it. I'm trying to psych up for this video because, as I told you, I also struggle with these things because they weigh on me. Like I just don't speak for them as being in the ulterior. These are things that has affected me, and especially this topic that I'm talking about today is of something that happened to me very recently, and it made me sit and think and wonder, why are these things happening? So we are talking about toxic positivity. Yes, you have heard about toxic negativity. Well, negativity is already toxic, so negativity. But what is this thing that we are calling toxic positivity? So you are in the right place. I won't take much of your time because I know you are learned and you are able to go and Google for yourself. I'm just going to introduce it to you and share my thoughts, and then I let you go and figure all these other things for yourself. So as I had mentioned, I've said it's something that happened to me just recently. I was at a friend of mine had lost someone close to them, so I was at a funeral, and my heart was broken. The things that were said in the name of comforting these people really broke my heart. I was just like, no. And you know, even after having a conversation, I had a conversation with this person later, and all these questions that they were asking, it's questions that, especially from the church, she was just like, so Grace, what do they mean when they say this? Why would anyone say this? So if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm talking about the kind of encouragements that we usually give people who are going through either grief or a hard time, or people who are experiencing hard times in their lives. The kind of encouragements that we give them that almost just truncates, negates the fact that these people are already feeling the way they are feeling. So let me just define it for you. Toxic positivity is an obsession with positive thinking. It is the belief that people should put a positive spin on all experiences, even those that are profoundly tragic. You have heard someone say things like, and I'll read you examples of what toxic positivity phrases would look like. You will hear things like telling someone or telling a parent, for instance, who has lost a child, no, it's okay. You should be glad that you can have another child. No. That does not negate the fact that they have lost a child. And that's just trying to mask what they already feel by bombarding them with positivity. That makes it's just to tell them, no, don't worry, don't mourn the child, or don't mourn the loss because you are able to bear another child, or because you have other children, or thank God if you are left with some others. Yeah, that's just an example of toxic positivity. Or when someone tells you like everything happens for a reason. And especially this one, I remember my friend was just like, what is the reason? And why would you? Someone has not even buried the lost one. And this is something we do so much in church. I was saying my heart was broken because even the sermon that was preached that day was so insensitive. It was very insensitive. All it talked about was it disregarded the feelings of the loved ones, the feelings of the people that had lost. It talked about all the way death is as a plan of God. Death is imminent. Everyone is gonna die. Even you listening to me, you're going to die. Literally, that was the pastor said. And I was just like, is this the right time? I know death is imminent and you're going to die, but why are you coming to the funeral to use examples of someone who is actively hurting to teach your lessons? And he even said something like, I don't know whether they were somehow knowing that there are people struggling with it. I remember him saying things like, and he was saying it very happily. First of all, I also don't understand people who come to laugh in funerals. I know cultures are different and all these things. There are people who dance in funerals and all this, but I feel like we should go with the mood of what the people that are experiencing the loss are in. So as I was saying, he was so bubbly and he was just like, the someone at a funeral is usually for the people that are seated here. It's not for the departed. I don't think he said it's not for the departed. This is just me trying to put some dignity on it. He said it is not for the dead. This is like, how someone had their loved one yesterday and now you are suddenly labeled them as the dead, and now you are disregarding the dead in the presence of the people that have lost, and now you're going to preach to us and tell to... I feel like we need to do better. I'm not saying we should not preach. I'm not saying we should not put our sermons across. Let's just be sensitive to the people, especially when people are going through grief. And it's not only grief, it could be sickness. You have had people, and I've had people come and ask me later, like, what is this obsession with, like, I know we have faith and all these things, but you go to the hospital and you assure the person you are going to be healed, and you tell the people surrounding the bed that this one is healed, this one is going home tomorrow. There's a friend of mine, I don't remember who shared, and they were just struggling with that. Like, they were so much assured by the pastor and by the people coming to pray. Everyone came and said, the will of the Lord is that this person will be healed. This person will go home whole. At the end of the day, that person did not go home whole. They passed on. So how do you expect people to reconcile that? So unless you really have like a revelation from God that this person is going to be healed, and you know for sure that don't give people this, I would say, false hope. And I think it's strongly stroked with toxic positivity. You're just bombarding positive. You are not the doctor. You don't know the condition. And I know the doctor treats, but God heals. But if you don't have a direct communication with God, stop promising people that their loved ones are going home with them, and then they have this hope, and then they're tragic. So what will you say when in the funeral now? Now it's no longer God's will. Now they have not come home. And you see, I am very much aware that it is possible that, of course, it was God's will that they go. But what necessitated your bombarding or your positivity messages that are not substantiated, that end people in trauma, that end people in questioning even the very religion that you are purporting to represent? So if God has not written to you or you have not seen it, stop giving people false hopes. Other kinds of toxic positive phrases are things like telling someone to get over their grief and focus on the good things in their lives. Now, my friends, the fact that someone is mourning, let me just adjust this camera. The fact that someone is mourning, the fact that someone is feeling pain and negative right now, does not mean now they have negated every positive thing in their lives. They haven't. So we need to be able to know that negative emotions are emotions that need to be felt. And when you feel negative emotion, doesn't mean you've stopped believing in God, doesn't mean you do not have faith, doesn't mean you have lost it. You haven't lost it. If you are feeling, you need to allow, whether male or female or whoever, give people a chance to experience the pain. If you have nothing to say, and I think I've said this in a video, I don't remember what we were talking about in that video. If you have nothing to say, honestly, just shut up, just don't say anything, just keep quiet and let people go through the emotions. telling someone to focus on the positive things in their lives, it's totally unrelated, because that does not negate or truncate whatever they are feeling right now. So that's just an example of toxic positive vibes. I think the last one I'll say, because there are many, I can't mention all of them. Just say I don't want to say this is a personal favorite, but this we hear a lot. When someone brushes off your feeling and says, it could be worse. I come and tell you I lost my job, you'll be like, it could be worse. You would have lost the money in your bank. It could be worse, but I'm feeling that feeling of worse now. So telling someone it could be worse just drains them off. It just makes them not be able to acknowledge the feelings that they are feeling and now start thinking of, oh yeah, it's okay. So you want someone to feel lucky that they have lost their job, or you want someone to feel lucky that their loved one was in an accident, now they are admitted, so they are lucky that that person did not die, or they are lucky that it was not worse. While that is okay, you saying it that at the moment when this is happening means that it's just a way of you trying to mask the feeling of negative that these people could be feeling or they are expressing, so that just you put pouring positivity and aura to just mask that, which is actually in itself not healthy. And I'll go to the next thing about before I go, let me just mention this. So there is this thing that we do at funerals or at people that are mourning, and we are quickly to tell them that it is well. No, it is not well. It is not well. I know you love the song and you love the Bible and you want to tell them it is well and you're trying to encourage them. It is not well. At least for that moment, it is not well. And I know I said this in another video. It is not well. And don't be quick to tell people it is well. Someone has lost their baby. Someone has lost their husband. Can you sit yourself right now and put yourself in their shoes? How is it well? How is it well that they have lost their loved ones? How is it well? So if you have nothing to say, at least don't say it is well. Just tell them maybe it will be well, or it's okay, or I pray and hope that it is well. I pray and hope that it will be well. But for now, my dear, it is not well. And don't tell people it is well. Don't tell people that it could be worse. So for now it is well. It is not well, or it is the will of God that they lost their loved ones. The same God that loves them, now it is the will that... I know you have all these religious justifications, but for the sake of empathy, for the sake of not being toxic positive about stuff, just don't do it. Maybe do it later. Come later, a year later, and encourage them and tell them how you know these things and teach them the theology. But for now, it is not well. It is not well with their souls. Okay, have we agreed on that? Now let's just go and learn about why it is risky, or why it is dangerous, or why it is actually toxic to do all these things. Generally, being positive and having a positive outlook in life is not harmful in itself. A person who believes that they must only be positive may ignore serious problems or may not address underlying mental health issues. So it is, as I said, it is a way of masking. So if you continually feel like you cannot express or allow yourself to feel negative emotion, then you're most likely prone to be susceptible to toxic positivity. And I have said, so I mean, what does that do to you? Number one, it means that you are able to ignore the real harm. You actually are at a risk of ignoring the real harm. What I mean by this is that, and this is again something we perpetuate in the society and in church, about a clear example of domestic violence. What do we tell victims who come and report domestic violence? What do we tell them? We tell them to exercise forgiveness. We tell them to exercise hope. We tell them to look at the positive side of life. Pray for your spouse. Pray for your spouse because they could change. Pray, just have a positive outlook of life. What this does is, yes, they could have positive outlook of life, and yes, maybe their partner can change, even though I believe you cannot change anyone. But anyway, that's not the point today. At the end of the day, what happens to them as they are praying for their husbands or their wives who are beating them? What happens to them? They die. They die in the marriage because toxic positivity makes you ignore the imminent danger. It makes you actually ignore real harm. The case that happened to the lady in the one that was famous, the lady in Nigeria. Pray for your husband. It will be well. The future will look good. It will be better. It will be better, but you are making this person ignore the actual harm. So at the end of the day, it actually gets them. Number two, I feel like I've already expressed this. It shows demeaning loss. Let me explain. Grief and sadness are normal in any person during a loss. And a person who repeatedly hears messages that tell them to move on, to be happy, they might feel like others do not care about them. And they may also feel like you're demeaning the feeling that they are going through. You're demeaning their loss, their grief. So if a parent has lost a child, for example, they might feel like their child was not important or their child was unimportant because you're forcing them to move on very fast. You're forcing a person to move past the issue very fast, even though they have not taken time to process it. So this usually, what this makes, and I know you can go Google about this, and I'm not an expert or a doctor, this causes compound grief. Compounding of grief. You can go and it just makes it's a ball, because first of all they have masked it. Now they are not even dealing with the grief itself. Now they are having to deal with the fact that you've now with your positivity, you've now made them feel like this person was not even important. Their loss was not that good. So it's like, and then it's a lot. Then they now start feeling bad themselves. Am I a weak person? Why would I die? Why would I react like this? Why do I feel like I needed to take all this much time? Go and read about compounding grief. The other one is it may cause isolation or stigma. People who feel like people who feel the pressure to smile during adversity or during chaos may be less likely to seek support. So if you're in an environment where you have you had people who and even during this time when my friend was going through this, I would hear comments like, she's okay. I even went there, she is smiling, she's strong. No one requires you to be strong in time of need, in time of grief, in time of loss. But sometimes we are forced to just put a smile on our face, and that in itself is seen as strength. But what that emanates from a society that has taught toxic positivity, what is it called? Has hyped up positive vibes and just killed the possibility of feeling the negative emotion, which is toxic. So, low self-esteem. This comes about when someone feels the pressure to always perform, the pressure to be happy even though they don't feel happy. And so, because we have associated someone who just, you see the way you say, suddenly someone is fine, now is back to society, ameacha kufeel the loss. Now we associate that with strength. So if there's someone who is still struggling and grief is taking longer, or whatever happened to them is taking longer, then it becomes a problem to them. They feel like they are lesser of people because they were not able to move on as fast as they are expected. So that creates low self-esteem. So is it okay to be negative? Absolutely. Negative emotion is a wide range of emotion. I mean, it's among the wide range of emotion that human beings feel, and it's okay to feel negative. So if you're not acknowledging these emotions, if you're not acknowledging negative emotion, it means that they are going to have a negative effect on your body. And I will task you to just go and read more about that and just learn about how to avoid toxic positivity. Some of the tips that I can give you how to avoid is identify and name emotions rather than avoiding them. So what are you feeling? You're feeling sad, you're feeling anger, you're feeling. Identify and allow your body to feel and allow others to feel the emotion. Don't even, or even yourself, don't encourage yourself with positive things even though you don't want to feel it. It is okay to feel the way you're feeling, whatever feeling it is. Recognizing that negative emotion is as normal and important and part of human experience. Actually, again, go and read about pain. Pain is an essential, actually, even in medicine and in medical terms and in the medical world, pain is essential. If you don't feel pain, if there is something totally not okay with you. So pain is an important. Pain helps you to avoid danger. Have you ever stepped on hot things, or when you're cooking? Imagine if you didn't feel pain, and you're cooking and you're just putting your hand maybe in oil, or you're touching sufurias, you will die because you will get burned and you will die, or you will cause yourself harm. Imagine if you didn't feel pain, so you would do everything dangerous and you will never be. Pain is a reflex from your body that helps you avoid that thing, that tells your brain to move away from it or to avoid that danger. If you didn't feel it, you would not be able to survive. So same as negative emotions, it's almost the same phenomena. Allow yourself to be able to feel this, and it's part of human experience. Another way that you can avoid is avoid toxic positivity is recognizing that intense emotions can coincide with powerful positive emotion, such that when grief signals make you feel or intensifies the feelings of love. So the more you grieve someone, it could be actually positive. You now value the time you had with this person. It could bring positivity, it could bring love to you, and you could actually be able to live with the love other than the grief. So it is not entirely negative. So I would like to know, ways in which you feel like you have experienced these things in society, especially toxic positivity, and especially in church, and how we need to stop doing these things because I feel like they are not serving the purpose that we think it is serving. So as usual, if you have comments, if you have additions, if you have anything you want to say about what we have talked about now, feel free to comment in the comment section. And thank you for listening to this far. I know it's a broad topic, as always. I always say mine is just spark a conversation. You can always go and research more. So you can go and read for yourselves and feel free to share with us. Thank you so much, and give this video a thumbs up if you've watched up to here, and see you next time.